I'd been watching Breeders' Cups all my life, looking forward to the day that we would have a horse good enough to go and compete in one. I have to admit, a year before I didn't expect it would be him.
Toast of New York, here's the finish! The Breeders' Cup, it's a weekend that brings together all the biggest names in the sport and, of course, the best horses as well.
Well, he came here as a yearling and showed us absolutely nothing until halfway through his 2-year-old career. He just sort of emerged. We realised we had potentially quite a nice horse. How good, we didn't know. But he impressed us through the winter, and then, you know, we started dreaming about an ambitious 3-year-old career.
Lafitte, named for a Cary Grant movie, Toast of New York is the British-trained buccaneer with an eye on a Hollywood ending today.
The day was amazing. It was in a way kind of quite emotional. You know, we'd had an up and down journey with the horse as the 3-year-old. He'd only had the 3 runs, and we'd had the high of Dubai, the low of New York, and then the relief of Del Mar. And we didn't really know what to expect. It was exciting just to be involved.
It's an extraordinary event. People all go to the track to see the horses train in the morning, or exercise. And then they've got the most famous chef in California who puts on breakfasts for everybody. And people are so friendly. I mean, generally when you travel horses, they're really, really friendly. You meet some lovely people.
As the day continued, I became more and more questioning of why are we even here? And I have this overriding memory of the light. The sun had just started to go down and it was bouncing off the mountains. And it was extraordinary. There was something very surreal about it. At best, going in, I thought, if everything goes well and this horse takes to the surface and he gets a good trip through the race, maybe, just maybe, we can finish second to Shared Belief.
I remember Jamie was staying with Neville Callahan's son, Simon Callahan, who said to me, I can't wait for this race to be over. All I keep hearing is reruns of the classic. Spencer must have watched 100 different reruns. And he came to the conclusion that you had no chance, and particularly not with this horse, unless you were up near the front.
We knew where the horse's strengths lie. He didn't have a turn of foot, this horse. He was a relentless galloper, and he had a tremendous cruising speed, beautiful action. You know, the only thing that probably gave me a little ray of hope is Jimmy McCarthy would ride him every day. He'd said to me when we were in New York, when he was training at Belmont, how good he felt on the dirt, and then the same thing in Santa Anita leading up to the race.
They're off in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Europe's Toast of New York is up and on the pace, running in second.
He kept saying to me how great he felt on that surface. So I was allowing myself a little dream, but then saying, no, don't be ridiculous.
Toast of New York is right in striking range.
And then as they're turning into the bottom bend, suddenly it kind of dawned on me that actually we're still up on the bridle and there's plenty of good horses off it behind us. I noticed that Shared Belief was probably not in his desired position.
Toast of New York on the outside.
It was quite apparent then from the apex of the bend that Shared Belief needed a miracle, and all of a sudden this race, I'm getting emotional. Oh, good God.
Bayern, Toast of New York, California Chrome on the outside. The three of them come to the wire.
The length of the straight, it just seemed to take forever.
Well, he looked like he was going to win. He came out alongside Bayern, but the other horse kept on and on and on and on and on. I thought 50 yards out, he was maybe 100 yards out. I thought he's going to go by and win.
Bayern, he was toughing it out, but I thought we probably had him. I thought we're going to get our head in front of Bayern, and then Chrome's going to come and get us on the line.
Bayern, Toast of New York, California Chrome, here's the finish. Bayern holds on over Toast of New York.
The relief that he'd run such a race, beyond my wildest expectations, was then turned into an annoyance that actually we'd been inches away from pulling off the unbelievable.
Jamie Osborne is the trainer of Toast of New York, second in the Breeders' Cup Classic. The stewards, Jamie Osborne, could be between you and this $5 million prize. What do you think of that?
It's a very strange position to be in, Nick. Look, we're obviously thrilled with how he's run.
There's no change. There's no change.
Some people say that we maybe should have got the race on a technicality, but you know, nobody wants to win a race on a technicality. If it were in the UK, we wouldn't have got the race. I don't know the Californian rules well enough to know how just the result was. Kind of don't care. He did what he did. I've got the picture on my wall of the three of them going past together.
The horse was beautifully prepared. All credit to Jamie, to Jimmy McCarthy, and everybody there. And I love Spencer, and credit to him, because he rode a perfect race for that race and for that horse. If the inquiry had gone our way, how would I have felt? I'd have loved it. I would have absolutely loved it. But I don't feel any rancor about the fact it didn't.
I'd forgotten how much it meant, actually. Like all these things, you've got to move on. Reliving it brings it back, yeah. I want to do it again. I want another one. The hardest part of this job for a trainer like me, a sort of middle-sized trainer jobbing around, is finding good animals and sourcing good animals. And he was a freak. The probability of us finding another one is slim. But, you know, we get up every morning in the hope that we're going to find another one. And I think if you lose that dream to find a horse good enough to come back to a Breeders' Cup, then you need to get another job. We brought him back. He went to the desert and he came back, and you know, it nearly worked. You know, he finished second in a Grade 2 in Louisville. Ultimately, injury caught up with him, but he wasn't an old horse and he had very few miles on the clock. His kind of relationship with Jimmy McCarthy through the whole thing had been tremendous. You know, they were joined at the hip. So it was only right and fitting Al Shakab gave him to Jimmy.
He loves it. He likes his two little ponies. It's nice that they've got life after racing. We've taken him to shows, ROR classes, dressage, the challenge, maybe see how he goes show jumping. We'll just take every day as it comes.
You know, he'll have a home there for the rest of his life. Jimmy's got two little boys who have all grown up, both grown up, hearing about Toast. Toast is now part of their family, and no doubt at some stage they'll be riding him in the next few years, which is, it's great. You know, ultimately, however hard-nosed you are about this business, most of us are in it because we're horse lovers. To be able to continue the journey of his life and, you know, still be a part of our lives is great.
I think it's wonderful, and I'm pleased that he's found something that might please him somewhere in his head. I've got no idea. I hope he's happy. He gave all of us immense pleasure, endless thrills, and he'd be hard to replace. Haven't found one like it yet.
Toast of New York, California Chrome on the outside. The three of them come to the wire.